I traveled to all 50 states, and what I've realized is that America has the world's strangest cults and communities. Many of these groups separate their members, demand loyalty, and use fear or manipulation to control them. But the common thread is a need to isolate from mainstream society. In this video, I'm going to visit 5 American cults and communities who have such unique and extreme lifestyles, you might not believe it's true.
What an experience.
Some are controversial, some are misunderstood, but all of them will leave you questioning what you thought you knew about life in the United States. Our first stop brings us to the bustling streets of New York City to meet the Hasidic Jews of Brooklyn. Originating in Eastern Europe in the 18th century, the Hasidics have preserved their traditions with furry hats and the use of Yiddish. Their communities are incredibly close-knit with their own schools and systems, creating a lifestyle that is mysterious and isolating.
I'm in a rush, I have an appointment.
Bye. My next experience brought me to the rural countryside of Ohio, where I spent time with the strictest Amish community called the Troopers, who reject modern technology and live without electricity or cars.
A lot of sheep.
Lots of sheep.
My guide Lizzie, who grew up Amish but left the community, shared insights into a world so conservative and self-containing it felt like stepping back in time. Then I ventured to northern Arizona, where the FLDS Church, a secret polygamous cult, has been surviving for years in isolation. Led by Warren Jeffs, who is now serving a life sentence for his sex crimes against women and minors, the group's dark history is hard to ignore. Despite this, thousands of his followers remain loyal to his controversial way of life.
Realize, young ladies, the best thing is to leave your life in the hands of God.
After that, I traveled to Slab City, an off-the-grid community of artists, outcasts, and anarchists living in the remote desert of California. With no electricity or running water, this lawless utopia thrives on loyalty to its bizarre way of life, where freedom and chaos go hand in hand, and its residents are fiercely protective of their communities.
Get the f***ing camera out of my face, bro!
And finally, I traveled to northern Wisconsin to meet the Mennonites, a Christian group often compared to the Amish but with their own traditions.
Are you familiar with YouTube? I mean, I've heard the name a lot.
While they reject many modern technologies, they are slightly more open to the outside world. Their commitment to simplicity, faith, and community is what makes their way of life both fascinating and timeless. These 5 communities are more than just oddities. They challenge the norms of American life in ways you'd never expect. Get ready to be taken on a cross-country adventure to meet these people,
feeling patriotic,
hear their stories,
because I ended up with 35 siblings,
and try to understand what makes these cults so remarkable. We begin in America's largest and most diverse city. The Hasidic Jews of Brooklyn, New York are the most religious and closed-off community in America.
What is Hasidism to you?
So it's a very vibrant community, second and third generation post-Holocaust.
Arguably one of the most fundamentalist religions, period, on the planet.
This community is a wonderful community because there's a lot of nice people here.
The whole system of how we relate to God and how we interact with God.
I'm about to walk into an exclusive synagogue here, and I'm pretty nervous. Wow. The stakes are very high for outsiders to be here, but I'm about to cross into this controversial bubble to discover the untold truth, which will leave you speechless.
Can you not record this part?
Okay, this is gonna be a disaster with cameras, but we're gonna try. Excuse me, I'm in a rush, I have an appointment. I never thought I would feel intimidated by my own religion. There's security everywhere now in this neighborhood. Pretty intense streets, very, very religious. Everybody on their flip phones because they don't use internet. 100% of the women over 18 years old are wearing wigs. What are you supposed to think or believe in this moment?
So that's a really good question.
Growing up Jewish, I've always enjoyed connecting with other Jews around the world, like I've done in Ethiopia, Afghanistan, the Philippines, and Yemen. I consider myself very lucky to be part of a religion that has only 15 million members, but has such a profound impact on global society. That being said, I've always been extra curious about the Hasidic Jews of New York because they seem to be different both physically and mentally from the rest of us. The Hasidism movement started just 250 years ago in Ukraine and spread to the United States right after the Holocaust. The way that Hasidic Jews dress themselves and curate their lifestyles will leave you stunned, from their big furry hats and long beards to their lack of using the internet and smartphones. Their strong commitment to family, tradition, and strict Jewish law is remarkable. But let's back up a bit. Not all Jews are Hasidic. In fact, Hasidics make up only 5% of the total Jewish population. There are 3 other movements of Judaism: Reformed, Conservative, and Orthodox, and all of these communities can be found scattered around New York City. I'm hopping in a cab to the ultra-conservative Hasidic community in Brooklyn called South Williamsburg. Unlike other Jewish communities, most Hasidics rarely, if ever, leave the boundaries of their district. Everything from schools, hospitals, and supermarkets to hardware stores, internet cafes, and bookstores are all found within walking distance. It is very much a bubble, and it's intimidating to enter because A, I'm not Hasidic, and B, I'll be meeting up with Abby Stein, who comes from Williamsburg but was canceled by her parents and her family for coming out as transgender.
I was the first person who was raised in a Hasidic community in the 250 years of the Hasidic community's existence to have come out publicly. The worst thing that happened to me when I've come back here has been people screaming, and once people threw an egg
at you.
I'm going in with an open mind and a willingness to learn more about this unique culture while being extra careful on how I use my camera.
Hi!
Hi!
How are you?
I'm
Good to meet you, finally. You grew up like here.
My parents still live about 10 minutes walking from here.
As we cross the border into Hasidic Williamsburg from the hipster part of town, I'm noticing the people's outfits and street signs immediately starting to change. It's literally separated by a single street, Broadway, with the subway screeching right above our heads.
Clearly it's pouring rain outside. We're doing our best right now.
So this is literally, Broadway was always the border, and that's very important. We're like on it right now, and you'll see in a minute. There's like 2 blocks maybe that are kind of like a mix. This is Yiddish. It looks like Hebrew, but it's Yiddish.
Yeah, it looks like Hebrew.
Almost everyone here speaks Yiddish at home. But this is a hat store, so they sell Hasidic hats.
The furry hats are just one of the many ways that Hasidic men stand out from the rest of us. Another way is by having payas, or long hair on the side of their heads. Women, on the other hand, dress very conservatively, always covering their shoulders and knees, and they also wear wigs to protect the public from seeing their true identity. Women are also seen on the streets taking care of their kids, of which having 10 or more is considered normal.
They reproduce a lot. There's a lot of kids in each family, so you can see the pediatrics office right there. The line is so long for kids to go see a doctor. If I owned a business here, I would open up a stroller shop.
I have 12 siblings. That's very common here. People have huge families.
Wow.
We get married extremely young. I was married at 18.
Marriage in Hasidic families is of utmost importance. It typically happens at a very young age and involves the entire community. And believe me, the ceremonies are pretty awesome. One of my favorite things about being Jewish is the food, and Abby is eager to take me to one of her favorite childhood restaurants called Gottlieb's. It's important to know that all food around here is kosher, which is a strict eating code that Hasidic, Orthodox, and many other Jews follow. It's kind of similar to halal food for Muslims, in that animals must be slaughtered a certain way to be able to eat them. All forms of pork are forbidden, and you cannot mix meat and dairy. In the 1930s, there were over 1,500 kosher delis in New York, but nowadays that number has dwindled down to about 20 as the Jews have spread around America. Gottlieb's has been a lifeline for Williamsburg Hasidic community since opening its doors 62 years ago, and the cuisine is all derived from Eastern Europe.
All right, we've made it.
Hello,
How are you?
Got a picture from me?
I would love to, yeah. What's your name?
My name is A.B. Baby.
Where are you from?
I'm a Willie boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like this restaurant?
Of course, who doesn't like this restaurant? This community is a wonderful community because there's a lot of nice people here. Look at Yitzchak. Take a look, Yitzchak. Take a look, Yitzchak. Take a look, Menashe.
Yeah, he likes cameras.
Could you find such a guy like him?
So life is good here.
Life is great, especially when I meet you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
These two, they're kids.
they're
When he
kids.
said that they had guys, mechitzen means that their kids are married to each other. As a community, you're quite close. Along with the men was this.
Wow.
You know what it is?
It's all in Hebrew. It's a Torah.
Okay, it's the blessings you make after eating. I think we're both just getting, the two of us just put it down.
Matzo ball soup? I haven't had
Oh,
matzo ball
this
soup
is
in a
amazing.
long time.
Well, if you come on Friday, I will make
It's
some.
also like a rainy day, so it's even
It's
even
perfect.
better.
It's like a fall day.
Feels like a home-cooked meal. This looks extremely Eastern European, almost like you would find in Ukraine or Poland. Steaming off the top right there. It's filled with meat, cabbage, onions. It's
My grandmother was from Jerusalem. She put rice in it as well.
Oh yeah, there is rice in there.
Oh, this right there.
It's so good. Thank you so much, sir.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön. Bitteschön.
Dankeschön.
Oh, thank you, sir. Dankeschön.
Be well.
Be well. That's
Be well as Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
As soon as I walked outside the door to that restaurant, I could start to feel the culture sinking in as Abby and I walked the streets. All eyes were on us, and I felt a lot of pressure to keep my camera down because it's clear that people here do not want to be filmed.
Don't record this.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask some people on the street right now if they want to be interviewed. Hi. Thank you. Okay, no problem, thank you.
The only people who accepted to be interviewed were non-Jews, and it was pretty interesting to hear their perspectives on the Hasidics.
If there wasn't here, it would be another ghetto. But I feel the tension between us all my life. I went to school here, but it's peaceful. If it wasn't, if they weren't here, then it would be an extension of the ghetto.
How you doing? Hey, come here for a second. What do you think about this community?
I don't consider this to be a religion. I consider this to be a culture. I've been working for them for almost 17 years. And every community, there's bad and good things. Hey, nobody's perfect. The only perfect is the one above. So...
Hey, respect, man, respect. Nice to meet you. I'm feeling like this tension building. The stakes are high. You know, Abby can't be seen. I can't be seen.
I can't be seen.
Well,
and people just have a look.
Can I shoot from the window, from the street?
Well, technically, legally, they can't stop you. So
I know.
Yes, you can.
This is a cinema transferred into a synagogue.
Almost everything about this community fascinates me, but nothing more than their restrictions to use the internet.
It's a gathering to be saved from all the dangers of technology.
So anti-internet.
Anti-technology, which is, yeah, that's pseudonym for the internet.
This place is called Cubicles, and it's literally kosher internet. So basically,
you go in, you pay per hour, or half hour, whatever.
Like an internet cafe in other countries.
Yes, an internet cafe, and you get filtered or / kosher version of the internet.
So it's like North Korea.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm gonna go in.
Try to go in.
Would you hold this? I was not wanted in there. Let's go.
Whatever they tell you.
No, they just saw my camera and they're like, what are you filming? Let's go. I'm fully Jewish. I had bar mitzvah, everything. Last name is very Jewish, but I'm not welcomed in this community, which is very fascinating.
I was told as a child that in school by my teachers that walking into a Reformed temple is worse than going into a church. And you have to realize going into a church is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Going into a Reformed temple is even worse. This is a sofer. They write the Torah scrolls by hand.
Oh, cool.
The Torah is a compilation of the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, and it's written in a long scroll that all Jewish temples or synagogues have inside them. The Torah represents the totality of Jewish teaching, culture, and practice as instructed by God. When all Jewish people turn 13 years old, boys or girls, they have something called a bar or a bat mitzvah, which is a ceremony where they read a verse in the Torah to officially become an adult and be held accountable for their own actions. My bar mitzvah was on June 12, 2004, and it was a day that I'll never forget.
How did this community start?
Okay, so the Hasidic movement was founded by actually my direct ancestor. His name is Rabbi Israel ben Eliezer. My father's father's mother's father's father's mother's father founded the movement. I was taught from a very young age to be very proud of it. He lived in a small village called Mezhebish in Ukraine.
Okay.
So the area that's now Ukraine had millions of Hasidic Jews before the Holocaust.
Okay.
The vast majority of them were killed by the Nazis.
So this community was born right after the war?
After the Holocaust, yes.
They came here, they settled here?
In many ways as a result of the Holocaust.
I think it's amazing how these immigrants of Holocaust survivors are still able to practice their traditions in New York, the same way that their ancestors did hundreds of years ago in Eastern Europe. Walking these streets makes me feel like I've entered into a time machine back to the 1800s. It is truly remarkable. Right now, I'm eager to step inside a synagogue and learn from the ways that Hasidics pray, but I'm out of luck in Williamsburg where the strictest rules apply to outsiders. Abby tells me about another Hasidic district called Borough Park, where the chances of me entering a synagogue are much higher. As soon as we arrived, I saw one out of the corner of my eye, but Abby chose to hang back with the cameras, so I went in alone with only my iPhone. It's hard to explain the feeling of being in that synagogue, surrounded by Hasidic Jews engaging in their most important duty, prayer. Some might say I'm intruding, but I feel like it's my duty to unlock these stories for you guys to see with the hopes that we can all appreciate diversity. On that note, I'm heading into a local shop to get myself a yarmulke, a Jewish cap made of cloth and worn by men to honor God above them.
So what we would wear, and what's most common, is this is called a 6 slice. So these are bigger, and they cover more of your head. And then like if you were considered more modern, you would get one of these, which is just 4 pieces.
Got it.
Smaller, covers less.
You think it's too small?
That's perfect. Okay. He says it's perfect.
It feels right. I've worn a lot of kippahs in my day.
I've never done this one, so it might take me a second, but let's see. Keep going.
Beautiful, beautiful. The shofar, everyone. How many shekels? Now do I look a little more respectable?
Now you look like modern Orthodox. Like you can pass as a modern
It
Orthodox.
changes everything. This
It
changes
changes everything. Specifically this kind of kippah, it changes everything.
So Abby and I have discovered a ton of magazines all in Yiddish.
This is a weekly newspaper, and there's 3 of these. It's about the same size.
So most people don't have internet, they just use this instead.
And it's big. And then you got like, okay, so some of these are monthly magazines. Like these are monthly magazines, these are weekly. This is also something that can only exist without the internet.
Well, this looks like...
It's just photos. It's literally just photos. It's page 6.
Yiddish is an offshoot of German that was started by Ashkenazi Jews in the 9th century in Central Europe. Sadly, the language was nearly extinct due to the Holocaust, when 6 million Jews were murdered by Nazi Germany from 1941 to 1945. These murders were carried out in pogroms, riots, and mass shootings, as well as forced labor and gas chambers within concentration camps such as Auschwitz, which is the saddest and darkest place that I've ever been in my life. Some 85% of all Jews killed in the Holocaust spoke Yiddish, or roughly 5 million people. And today, that number is a mere 600,000. If you ask me, it is surreal to hear Yiddish being spoken in the United States today.
This is like really common. People will just come and buy a magazine and take it home.
We used to buy like one of those newspapers, several things every week, yeah.
Look at this. Oh, sorry. How you doing?
You know what it says inside?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh, let's get up the name
Anything emergency happens, people don't call 911 at all. People always call them. I memorize their number. It's 7183-871.
So it's like the ambulance? It's like an emergency
That's what
room.
people call. Yeah, that's what people call. So.
Is it like a trust issue? Like they want to be with other...
It's a mix of a lot of things. It's a bit mix of trust. It's they usually arrive faster. They don't charge.
This video isn't complete until I experience a Shabbat dinner inside of a Hasidic household. For those who aren't aware, in Judaism, Shabbat is a day of rest that happens every week from sunset on Friday to sunset on Saturday. During Shabbat, it is prohibited to work, to drive a car, to use your phone, and even to turn on the lights during these holy 25 hours. All of the activity takes place at home, talking among family and friends, praying in the synagogue, and eating a massive meal. While I don't keep Shabbat on a regular basis, I do love to participate, and I always enjoy this peaceful day of rest whenever I get the chance. However, filming a Shabbat dinner inside of a Hasidic home is nearly impossible because it goes against the principles of not working. Let's just say that it took me 4 months to get permission from a rabbi to film the Shabbat dinner that you're about to see. He approved my mission to document in good faith and share the beauty of Hasidic culture only if I do not touch or address the camera beyond sunset. After several failed attempts, my friend Shlomi, who is a fellow traveler and YouTuber about life as a Hasidic Jew, invited me into his own house, which is located outside of the city.
How you doing? Good to see you.
These are my 3 kids.
Hey, how are you?
That's a girl, that's a boy, and the baby's a girl. My name is Shlomi Zayans. I was born in Borough Park, Brooklyn, New York.
What is Hasidism to you? What does it mean?
It's a very, very good question, a very deep question. I think Hasidism means a lot of things to a lot of different people. There are some people who are very focused on the inner Hasidism, which I believe is the most important part of it. There was somebody named Yisrael Baal Shem Tov. He lived in the 1700s in Ukraine. He felt that Judaism was getting a little bit dry. People weren't doing Judaism with enough passion. So he reinvented the whole system of how we relate to God and how we interact with God and how Jews live. And many people would say that the Baal Shem Tov and the Hasidic movement saved Ashkenazi Judaism because there were so many people who would have fallen out if not for this new invigoration of life and excitement into Judaism.
Interesting. I'm about to do tefillin, which is a very special experience in Judaism. I've done it maybe 10 times in my life. I'm following the leader here. He's showing me what to do.
Okay, so first of all, please lift up your left sleeve. Repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu, v'mitzvosav v'tzivanu, lahaniach tefillin.
Tefillin is a prayer that involves a black leather box with leather straps containing scrolls from the Torah.
And then like this.
And then,
like this.
Yes. And now we got it.
All right.
Okay.
Now, guide me.
So, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Now I would just suggest if you want to think about your family, pray for your loved ones, and just have a moment. You can close your eyes, leave them open, whatever you're comfortable with. By the way, we have to take the obligatory tefillin selfie.
Sure.
We call them telfies. And but I have to tell everyone that I rapped Drew Binsky.
Yeah, of course. Please.
Okay, so.
I have a feeling what's in this box, and I feel like it's a hat.
This is a hat. It's a very special hat. It's called a strammel.
Stramo.
Yeah, strammel.
Stramo.
Strammel.
Stramo.
Perfect. This is a hat that Hasidic men wear on Shabbos.
Oh my
They are
goodness.
very expensive. This one, I believe, was $5,500. Legend has it, back in the 1700s, or possibly even earlier in Poland, there was a king or a count or someone in power who told Jews that they couldn't wear fur. But he made one exception. They're allowed to wear fur from a tail, supposedly the lowest, disrespectful, cheapest part. So the Jews went and they made hats completely made out of tails, and beautiful hats. They rock them like this, and every Shabbos, they try to put us down, and we lift ourselves up with a strammel.
Cool, man.
Now, I have one for you too.
You have one for me.
I'm gonna put it on your head.
Yarmulke stays on?
I'm gonna crown you. Yarmulke stays on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What animal is it?
I think it's sable.
You only wear this leading up to Shabbat, or do you wear it throughout?
No,
the
you
night?
wear it
throughout, like.
Yeah. So I make kiddush, which is the blessing on the wine. I'll wear it. Make hamaitzi, which is the blessing on the bread. Wear it. A lot of people will wear it for the entire meal. It gets kind of heavy and kind of hot.
Yeah.
So like usually when I start eating soup, that's when my body heats up, and then I take it off.
You got a nice little like lean there. Is mine
Yeah,
straight or is
yours is straight.
I kind of like the curve.
I like it too. It's like the hood Hasidic, you know?
We're hood Hasidics.
Okay, give me your right hand.
Yes, sir. Ooh. Now I'm in the Shabbos mode.
Yes, you are.
Wow.
Looking good.
What is this called?
It's called a bekasha.
Bekasha.
Now what's interesting is that it goes right over left.
Oh.
Okay? So in Hasidic thought, the right side represents kindness and the left side represents judgment. You always want to have the kindness over the judgment. Make sure that there's more kindness than judgment. So we wear our clothing right over left.
I like that.
Good Erev Shabbos. You don't have payas, but because you have the beard, you kind of look like a new age modern chassid. If you didn't have a beard, then it would be harder to, then people would be like, who's this guy? But with the beard, yeah, you could pull it off.
We're talking about all these things that happen on Shabbat, but for those who aren't Jewish or maybe don't know, Shabbat is a time that happens sundown Friday night to sundown Saturday night, so 24-hour period.
25 hours, actually.
25-hour period, every single Friday to Saturday.
No matter what.
For existence, no matter what.
Yeah.
And during Shabbat, it's a time of relaxation, a time of family, and you're not allowed to work.
No cooking, no watering the grass.
No watering.
Like, just chill.
Just chill.
Yeah.
Shabbat should be totally focused on nothing, doing nothing. You just feel the presence of Shabbos.
Can you shower?
No.
Can you shave?
No.
Can you brush your teeth?
No. When you take a toothbrush and you put toothpaste on it, and most people put it under water as well, what's happening is that you're squeezing out water from between the bristles. And you're not allowed to squeeze water out of anything on Shabbos. That's the problem with the teeth. It's not a hygienic thing, it's the water thing. So there's somebody who invented something called a Shabbos toothbrush. Rubber bristles where the water doesn't get converged within the bristles, and then when you use it, you're not squeezing out.
Do you have a Shabbos toothbrush?
I do, yeah.
Okay, good. You travel to all these countries. What if a flight gets canceled on Thursday and rebooked to Friday night? What do you do?
I'm not going to be on that flight.
You're not gonna be on
No
that flight.
chance. Only if it's a life or
Only
death
if it's life or
situation.
death. Like-
So God forbid, like if I had medication that could save someone's life at the other end of the world, I'd get on a plane and bring it to them. Anything short of life or death, Shabbos comes first. My baby was born on Shabbos.
Really?
Now, we went to the hospital before Shabbos because my wife was in labor earlier, but if we had to, yeah, we would just get in the car and go to the hospital.
Yeah, you gotta have baby. You gotta have baby.
I mean, you can have a baby at home, but most women aren't into that.
So, it's Shabbat. This is a very meaningful time of the week. Is it usually just your family, or do you have guests come over?
So we actually travel a lot. So like.
Oh, you travel with him?
Some of the time, yeah. Like if it's like a really dangerous place, then I wouldn't go.
You wouldn't go to Afghanistan or anything?
No, I have 3 kids.
Do you connect with other Jews on the road? Have you done that? Go to like Chabad or any communities?
For sure, we always go to Chabad. I mean, we kind of like rely on Chabad for like restaurants.
It is a lifeline.
And, like,
I've
yeah,
done the same.
Yeah. Like they're amazing. They really are. First of all, I hope you're like absolutely starving and did not eat anything today.
I'm pretty hungry.
Okay, good. So we have some baked asparagus, Hasselback.
Wow, that was fantastic.
Some sweet baked chicken, sweet potato pie. We have some rice to go with the fish. This is cholent.
Yep.
It's like a beef stew.
Yep, I've had chillin'.
Chicken soup. Sorry.
Wow.
And here we have a beef lasagna with vegan cheese because we don't do milk and meat together. We have a teriyaki salmon barbecue ribs.
This is insane. There's an unlimited amount of food here.
We got some grilled cauliflower, some roasted eggplant and vegetables. And we have hot apple pie and potato kugel.
Wow, you've outdone yourself. Thank you.
And some desserts over there.
I'm kind of speechless.
If someone were to decide to keep Shabbos and it wasn't for religious reasons, food is also a good reason.
Is it always the same dishes?
That's a very good question. So basically what we do is, there are certain traditional dishes that everyone has. We start off with wine, then fresh baked challah bread, then usually people will go fish, soup, and some kind of main dish with side dishes. But you can be kind of like, you can freestyle with what kind of fish.
And this goes without saying, obviously, everything is kosher, always, everything. Kosher is just a certain, it's kind of like halal, Muslim, it's similar.
Yeah, so basically what it is kosher is any animal that is slaughtered, has to be slaughtered by a rabbi who took specific training to try to eliminate the suffering of the animal while it's being killed. We don't eat milk and meat together, we don't eat pork, we don't eat shellfish. I'm so in it, I never miss anything else. Thank God we're eating very well over here.
We are just seconds away from 5:47 p.m., the exact time when Shabbat begins, which is actually the moment when you can identify 3 stars in the night sky. We are all dressed up in our Shabbat clothes, including Shlomi's lovely kids. You can really begin to feel the spirit in the air. Shabbat officially begins with the women of the house lighting 2 candles, marking the division between light and darkness. From this exact moment onwards, I will not be touching my camera nor addressing it to show my respect to the family. I have hired a non-Jewish camera operator who is present in the room and will be documenting from his camera.
I'm gonna bless my children.
When Shabbat starts, it's customary for the man to say a prayer or a blessing to each of his kids, and it's a beautiful sight to witness.
Flag. Wow. So we're gonna go into the kitchen and wash the bread. Okay. And then we're gonna continue.
Jews always wash each hand twice for ritual purity and actual cleanliness before reciting blessings and reciting Torah. Then they sing.
Shalom aleichem, malachai ashurais, malachai elyon. Shalom aleichem, malachai ashurais, malachai elyon.
After that, they recite some prayers and take the first sip of wine, which everyone in the room drinks from the same cup. This big fluffy Jewish bread, called challah, always kicks off the Shabbat dinner. Then food keeps on coming. If there's one thing that all Jews have in common, it is feeding you until you cannot breathe.
Nice big glass of wine.
Oh, thanks. There's some left.
No, don't worry, I'm not afraid.
How many days did it take you to cook this? Definitely more than 1.
All of yesterday.
All of yesterday? Wow.
Drinking alcohol is a big part of every Jewish dinner, and Shabbat is no exception.
First Hasidic Shabbos.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Good Shabbos. Cheers.
Cheers.
L'chaim.
Mary, you're gonna have some water, okay? On a regular night at 8 p.m., what would I be doing? Maybe I'd be eating supper with my family, maybe I'd be putting the kids to bed, but I wouldn't have the clarity and peace of mind to just stop everything and be in a moment. When my boss is on my phone, on one phone, there's a second phone where someone else wants me, and everything's just all up in the air. Now, relax, peaceful and relaxing, and just center in on yourself.
The food kept on coming, but soon after, I cut the cameras out of respect for Shabbat. I ended up staying at Shlomi's house a few hours into the night, and it was a wonderful experience to say the least. As a Jew and someone who has celebrated Shabbat in many countries around the world, I must say that this one was the most special, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to take you guys along on my quest to learn all about Hasidic culture. As we leave the Hasidic world of New York, I travel to the rural farmlands of Ohio, where the Amish have preserved a quiet and conservative way of life.
Hey guys, I came all the way to India to tell you about today's sponsor, NordVPN. It helps keep you safe online, whether you're traveling or just browsing at home.
With NordVPN, I can connect to public Wi-Fi anywhere, airports, cafes, hotels, without worrying about hackers or anyone trying to steal my data.
Listen, I've been hacked once and it was not a fun experience. Now with NordVPN, I don't have to be scared to connect to sketchy public Wi-Fi around the world.
It's kind of like having a digital shield for your online life. And it's not just about safety. NordVPN also lets me access content from any country. Ever tried watching your favorite shows abroad only to find out they're blocked? Or a big sporting event?
NordVPN solves that.
With just one click, I can choose from over 7,000 ultra-fast servers covering 118 countries. One subscription covers up to 10 devices, so you can stay protected on your phone, laptop, and more. Plus, it's super fast and easy to use.
Right now, NordVPN is giving an exclusive deal to my followers with 4 extra months for free. All you have to do is scan that QR code or click the link in the description down below. It is risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. All right, now let's head back to America.
There's the Amish, and then there's the Schwarzentrooper Amish, the most extreme subgroup of them all. What I'm about to do is unheard of because outsiders are strictly forbidden. Schwarzentroopers follow much harsher rules than other Amish. They are known for driving horses and buggies instead of cars, using lanterns instead of electricity, and taking only 1 bath per week. So how am I getting access? My friend Lizzie left the community when she was only 19 and hasn't been back in some time. She's agreed to take me to her childhood home in Holmes County, Ohio, which looks like a time warp back to the 18th century. My goal is to show you the secret life of America's most conservative community and find out what's really going on behind closed doors.
We are driving through a small town called Maslin. I'm on the lookout for my first horse and buggy. First one to find it wins.
This is where you feel everything slow down.
Yeah, this road is like calming.
It's so peaceful. When you live in a city where everything's hustle bustle and you come here, you start to appreciate the little things in life again.
The horse and buggy passing us right now. That was crazy. There's like surrounded by cars.
Yeah. This is where the road I used to go to church.
Oh.
Every 2 weeks, horse and buggy.
The Amish follow a branch of Christianity called Anabaptism, which focuses on adult baptism and non-violence. They worship God and follow the teachings of Jesus Christ as written in the Bible. Services happen in homes, barns, or churches, involving communal prayer, singing, and reading scriptures. The Amish movement started in the late 17th century when Swiss leader Jacob Amann emphasized traditional practices, leading to a split from mainstream Mennonite groups. Schwarzentroopers make up a tiny slice of America's 300,000 Amish. They are a subset of the Old Order who broke away around 100 years ago. To anyone living in central Ohio, it's easy to spot a New Order person versus a Schwarzentrooper person. But how can you tell the difference? For starters, there are specific rules that must be followed by all Amish people. They all agree to live separately from the world, pursue a limited education, dress in modest clothes, and refuse war. But other decisions about technology, travel limitations, and livelihoods depend on individual groups. For example, some Amish shop at Walmart and own smartphones. Schwarzentroopers, on the other hand, are the most isolated from society. They strictly maintain the early teachings and are quicker to excommunicate rebels like Lizzie. They do not advertise businesses online, and they have the lowest standards of living, including no electricity or plumbing. Schwarzentroopers marry Schwarzentroopers. Teenagers are allowed to court their potential future spouses, which includes hugging in a bed while fully clothed. For now, I'm on the lookout to see if anyone will speak to me.
This is how you know we've entered Amish country. The horse and buggy sign. Hello, how are you? I like your horses. Where I come from in Arizona, we don't have horses like that.
Okay. Bisschen blaue hat.
He was kind of confused when you started talking to him.
That's why I did it. I want to see his face.
That was so cool. Wow.
You may have noticed that Lizzie was not speaking English. That's because she grew up trilingual, Pennsylvanian Dutch as her first, English as her second, and German as her third to read the Bible. Before driving to Lizzie's childhood home, we stop in town to meet the less extreme Amish groups who live out here.
Figured there's no better way to see Amish country than get around like they do on a horse and buggy. And we found a guy named Mel who has offered to take us around Amish country.
This is like the Mercedes of buggies compared to how I grew up.
How so?
They have a brake right here. We did not have the brake there.
We were not allowed to have this.
What about this light?
We're not allowed to have that.
Okay, Jojo.
Let's go, Jojo.
Ik kan ook Duits schwätzen.
Oh, you can? How did you speak Dutch?
Ik ben opgewachsen in de Amish.
Oh, really?
Ja, schwarzen draw.
What is your Amish sect called? Old Order.
Old Order and the New Order, they believe the same, but they just got different rules. And how long were you gone?
20 years since I left.
You can't go home.
I can go home.
So you can do
Yeah.
it. Go home. That's the one.
Yeah.
Does that shock you?
Some do, some don't.
Yeah?
Stopped at a beautiful viewpoint here. You can see Amish country is just flatlands, grass, hills. Feels just like Wisconsin or Iowa, Missouri, all the Midwest. Why do Amish men shave their mustache?
Well, I was told that, we're supposed to be conscientious objectors. So the Army colonels, we had mustaches. So that's why we don't have them.
Really?
How have the Amish evolved? The internet is now everywhere, and are people adapting to it positively, or they're unhappy about what's happening?
Some are, there's some that ain't,
Yeah.
there's some that are starting a new community.
How do you feel about it?
If they don't like it, if they don't want it, move out of
Yeah,
here.
exactly. What is one positive thing that you hope other people could learn from your lifestyle?
Just say our upbringing,
Yeah.
we are taught to work. I got 3 boys in Kentucky, they used to live in Kentucky, they're not Amish. Well, I'd rather they would be Amish, but Amish is not the only way. Amish is just a way of life.
Yeah.
It don't matter how big my hat is, how long my beard is, how big a mustache I have.
So do you use the internet?
I got a tablet.
So you do use it. Do you use YouTube?
Yeah. Oh, see, that's a New Order girl there. She ain't got a better bike.
Oh, wow.
I like you because you're open-minded.
Mel's perspective as a member of the Old Order helps me understand what I'm getting into, but things are about to get more intense as we approach Lizzie's farm. Entering a Schwarzentrooper's home is not even rare, it's unprecedented, and we're about to find out what makes them so different.
We just pulled up to Lizzie's childhood house. For everyone watching this video right now, out of respect, and Lizzie also told me not to film like her mom specifically and faces of people, so it's gonna be tricky to film in the house, but we can walk around here and maybe you can just explain some things. Is that okay?
Yep.
Lizzie has flowers for her mom. That's so sweet of you. Everyone should give flowers to their mom.
Exactly.
Growing up, Lizzie had 18 siblings. Sadly, when she was only 13, her father's life was taken by a drunk driver who slammed into his horse and buggy. That left her precious mother to raise all 19 kids by herself. When Lizzie was 19, she had been exchanging letters with her boyfriend who belonged to another Amish community in New York State. They fell in love at her sister's wedding. One day, he delivered a letter in her mailbox that said he had escaped, and he would pick her up at 10 p.m. if she wanted to run away together. Lizzie had only a few hours to make a decision, and with 20 bucks in her pocket, an 8th grade education, no job, and no social security number, she said yes.
So then I climb out onto the roof. My boyfriend is up on the hill flashing his flashlight. I eventually climb all the way out to the edge and I'm like crouched down. So finally I took a deep breath and I jumped.
And when you got in the car, what'd you do?
We all just like screamed.
Of happiness?
Of happiness.
I'm walking around her mom's house. It's so interesting. It's like everything's made of wood. There's no electricity, there's no lights, there's no power outlets. It feels like life in the 1930s. There's a train passing. It feels very Midwestern when I hear that sound. Wow. How long does this take to make?
Depends how fast you work.
Well, this is a one-piece clothing.
Okay, gotcha.
And then they just cut it and then...
Your mom made this?
Mm-hmm. This is the sewing machine.
That's how you do it? You sit down and then...
So you sit down.
You know how to work this thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Get you little scissors.
It's coming back to you.
Look at that line.
That was awesome.
My German precision.
Yeah.
This is the washroom. This is keeping something cold.
Oh, that's like a fridge.
Mm-hmm. This is a kerosene. They use this in the summer instead of the winter, so that they don't have to heat up the big stove. You put these pots on here, whatever you want to cook.
I mean,
it's just a burner.
It makes sense of how you cook.
And then they have portable ovens. So in the summer, if they want to bake bread or pies or whatever, they literally put them on here. This is the kettle to heat water, to do laundry. This is This is fancier than what I grew up with. And then this is the washer. There's a belt underneath.
Oh yeah, I see it.
See it right there? And they probably have a motor on the outside. It's hooked up. And then they run the motor. You ring it through here, put it in the rinsing tub, rinse it in there. And then you wring it out again. And then you hang it out on the clothesline to dry.
It sounds like a very complicated process.
It's pretty easy when you're used to it. This right here is the tub they used to take bath.
You don't take showers here?
There's no showers. Every Saturday night.
Only once a week?
Get water, heat up the water, put hot water in here, put cold water in there, take a bath.
Why only once a week?
Think about the process.
Every Saturday, you and your 18 siblings would take a bath here, like one after another?
Yeah, all the younger ones would use like the same, you know, water or whatever,
So it got
take
dirty.
a bath, whatever. But then all the older kids would have their own water, like we wouldn't share water.
We're about to check out the bathroom situation here. Okay.
It's not a bathroom.
Oh.
It's an outhouse.
Bathroom.
There's no bathroom because you can't take a bath in it.
Okay, let's see the bathroom. Sorry, let's see the outhouse.
The outhouse.
I've seen much worse.
This is actually pretty fancy. When I was growing up, we had to use newspaper. We didn't have toilet paper.
So they have toilet paper now?
They have toilet paper now, as you can see.
You use like actual newspaper?
We had to cut up newspaper and use the newspaper. We did not have to.
Isn't that like rough on your skin?
Of course.
But I imagine with 19 kids, it did not smell very good in here.
No. This is actually not bad compared to what I have smelled.
But there's no light in here, so what if it's 2 in the morning and you need to use the bathroom?
Flashlight. Here's the thing that I think that the modern world can learn from the Amish is that we're very self-sufficient and very creative and sustainable.
I love that.
Like
we're losing touch of all those
yes,
things.
like look how sustainable this
Yeah.
is. Like they're not relying on any electricity. They're not relying on anything necessarily modern. If electricity goes out, they're not doomed.
Nothing's imported.
No.
Everything's like consumed here.
Yep. They can be their own. And that's what modern society has lost its touch.
That is one of the coolest lessons, I think, from this video. They are living peacefully and they're not harming the environment.
In all reality, they're helping the environment. Look at this really cool pump.
What is that for?
Old-fashioned.
Oh, for water?
For water. This is rainwater. You don't drink this one.
Is it for washing stuff?
Yeah, for washing, whatever. It's really dark in here.
What is this? Basement?
This is the cellar basement.
Whoa. It's cold down here?
It's cold down here, so you come down here to cool. Now this is the real deal right here. Look at this.
Whoa.
This is all the camp meat. That's
Wow.
sealed. This is probably ground beef. This is chicken.
And it's cold, like you feel it? It's really cold.
It's really cold, yeah. So people get really scared about like, you can't can and preserve meat like that and keep it. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. The way that you do it is you put it in the jar. You put this lid on with the rings, cover it all with water, and you have it boiling for like 3 hours.
Whoa.
That preserves the meat.
That's it?
Seals the meat. You get it out, let it cool down.
And it can last like years like this? Or maybe months?
Usually every year they renew
Sure.
it, so it'll.
Whoa, look
it'll
behind
last.
you. Holy crap.
this is all
I didn't even see this.
That's grape juice. That's probably
So
apple cider.
cool.
When you cool down.
That's what we have to sell it for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You like coffee?
I like coffee.
Yeah, you want to try the hat on?
Is it disrespectful? Can I try it on?
Oh yeah, you can.
Is this yours?
Yeah, it's mine.
Oh.
See, even with the red, I just got to shave my mustache and then
Yeah.
He's never been around any of the like Amish stuff.
A lot of the stresses and the anxieties that we have, it seems like you guys don't have those stresses here.
Oh yeah, we have stress too.
It's just a different kind of stress.
You guys sell these hats?
You can have that.
No, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna take your hat.
I'll just get another one.
No, I'm not gonna take your hat, bro.
That one's older anyways.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
You're 36? I thought you were gonna say 25.
Yeah.
Have you ever left Ohio?
Yeah, I left. I was all the way out in Colorado. I went with my brother Malin out to Colorado. We came off the train.
What is it like to kind of see other states for you, or different?
Oh, I like to see it. I mean, it was nice in Colorado. Like, just to see it. I mean, I don't really. For me, I wouldn't really be interested in moving out there. But
What do you enjoy most about the Amish lifestyle?
the way I was raised, I guess. Anytime really like, I mean, the big cities and people.
Does it stress you out?
I like more to just be myself, I guess.
And you never once had a desire to use the internet or anything?
No, I never did.
Oh, my whole job is on the internet. Like, I go around the world and tell stories about different cultures and communities, and then I document it, and I share those videos with people on YouTube. Do you know what YouTube is?
Well, I know it half YouTube. I don't really know what they do on YouTube.
It's just like video content, basically. I can travel around the world and interview people with big cameras, and then I put them on YouTube, and then people watch them. They comment and they engage with it, and they say, wow, cool video. And then the more views I get, the more money I can make. Because like there are advertisements played on the videos.
I see.
And that's how I make a living. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, good luck in your farming.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Now we are heading upstairs to Lizzie's bedroom, where she hasn't stepped foot in years.
It smells the same.
How does it feel to be in here?
I honestly have no words. Like, it's just all the things are flooding back.
So you've gone through so many changes, whereas they haven't. So that must be even crazier for you.
I chose to leave.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah, the choice.
So that was my choice. I now understand and know two sides.
Mm-hmm.
The modern world and the non-modern world. They know one side. They have a right to their feelings and their thoughts and how they feel about it, and so do I.
Yeah.
But we're friends. Like we're not.
As your mom said, we're friends. We're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. I had many dreams in this room about leaving. And I remember literally I was standing at this window, putting my dress and outfit on for church, and I had gotten in trouble for putting a pin on the wrong way. I'm staring out the window and I said to myself, if I'm going to go to hell for putting a pin on wrong in my dress, I'm gonna go to hell driving a car.
Wow. This is the window you were looking.
This is the window. I was meant to be here for the time that I was, but I was never meant to be here for the rest of my life. I also believe that some people in the community have a bigger calling, and maybe they were meant to leave, but it's the strength of the community and the culture and the relationships of the family and the church that keeps them here, number one. Number two is the fear of the church.
Were you able to be open and share these feelings with your siblings, or you were just like internally?
I had to internalize it. I left a note that I was leaving, and sometimes when I look back at like what that note says, I literally go, how did I even know to write that? Because I said, this has nothing to do with anybody else here. This is me, but I have to go.
Have you talked to your mom about that note ever? But she got it for sure.
Oh yeah.
Is this what you imagined the outside world would be?
No. All I know is when I left, I 1000% knew it was where I was supposed to go, but I had no idea what my life was going to look like or what it was going to lead to because I knew so little of the world. Like if I'm standing here and I just like look at the barn, I look at the railroad tracks, I remember, I look at like where my life is now, and it's just, there was a time in my life where I didn't respect this, and I have so much respect for this now. Without this, I wouldn't be who I am today. I have this.
Yeah. It was a really special experience at Lizzie's mom's house. Everything's so traditional here. It's kind of reminds me of the Mennonites in Wisconsin, but this one it's different. They're just more traditional, more old school.
This is where we used to put up hay and straw and do thrashing.
Did you dress like them, like when you were younger?
Yes. The way that they're dressed, that's how I dressed.
And now look at you. It's a little different.
So this is the building that we used to, what they call the milling.
Is this building the same as when you were growing up?
This is the
Whoa.
corn. So we husk the corn all by hand.
Whoa. It's like a slide of corn.
Yeah. They feed the corn to the pigs, and then they use it to make their feed. It's a little different. This is what we used for light. This opens right here, and that's where you put the kerosene.
What is kerosene? Fluid?
Flammable fluid.
Flammable fluid.
Yes. Here, there's a wick that goes down into the kerosene, and so you light up the wick, As long as there's kerosene in there, it'll light up.
Like the whole night it will stay?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that fluid, it doesn't work?
No, you don't. You definitely don't want to use gas. Gas is more flammable than the kerosene, so kerosene's the safe one. This is quite different because they don't milk cows for money anymore, but this used to be all cow stalls, like the ones over here.
You milked in here?
15 cows, and
wow. This
is a cow milking stool. This is what you sit by the cow, and you sit down and you milk the cow.
We are in the horse barn right now.
We're in the horse barn.
These are all...
There's another horse over here.
Family's horses. There's a lot. You guys have a lot of horses.
Yeah, they have to.
What is the significant role of horses for Amish people?
Horse and buggy, and then for farming. Anytime that they have to go plow the fields, do the seeding, any kind of farming that typical other farmers would use tractors for, they use the horses for. It's just the sheep.
A lot of sheep.
Lots of sheep. This used to be where all the cows would live.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me. I thought that was a person. It smells interesting in here.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe because there's horses right here eating.
Oh.
Nope, not feeling it. Not feeling it.
This is the buggy.
They're pretty big.
This is where you sit. This is the brake. So this is attached to this right here. So when you go downhill, you have to put the brake on to help the horse. Then there's the blankets that they cover up with. This is where the lantern goes.
This lantern is for buggies, and you have the light there, and you turn it around. So it's like a stoplight in a car.
Mm-hmm. A reflector, yeah.
Is that for night only, or always?
Night only, yeah. Vastly different from the other order of Amish.
The reflective tape on the back of these buggies is a hot topic. They ride without the yellow slow-moving signs, which all other Amish use. Since they are driving on federal roads, there have been many accidents, like what happened to Lizzie's father. But the tape is how local Ohioans can spot the difference between shorts and troopers and other subgroups.
If you come back here in 50 more years, probably gonna look the same.
It's gonna look the same pretty
Might
much.
be a little different, like the toilet paper, you know, is different. The freezer,
The ice house freezer thing, that's different.
But they won't be driving cars in 50 years.
No.
Is it a growing population or a shrinking population?
Well, they do have lots of kids.
True.
So
But
actually,
as the world progresses, more of them might be like, I'm doing something different.
then there's people that leave.
Well, the rainstorm has approached, and I just dropped Lizzie off at her sister's house. And I gotta say, that was one of the most interesting experiences I've ever had in America. I just think it's so cool that the USA is so big and there's so many different countries and cultures and religions and beliefs. And the Amish is just one of them. They're friendly people, they're harmless people, and that's kind of why I wanted to come learn about this culture, because I wanted to share with you the real story of Amish, especially hearing it from Lizzie's point of view, someone who grew up there and has left. It's been very, very special.
After exploring the Amish way of life, I'm drawn to the remote Arizona desert, where another deeply isolated group lives by an entirely different set of beliefs, the polygamous cult of the FLDS.
Realize, young ladies, the best thing is to leave your life in the hands of God through his prophet.
America's scariest cult is in a small town in Arizona, where child trafficking, arranged marriage, and having multiple wives is the norm.
You know, because I ended up with 35 siblings.
This town is ruled by the FLDS, or the Fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints, the most extreme branch of Mormonism. Its members idolize a man named Warren Jeffs, a religious leader on the FBI's most wanted list, who is now serving a life sentence in prison for sex crimes against children. I want to learn more about the dark side of polygamy in America, so I'm driving to the FLDS headquarters right now to talk to survivors and expose the truth.
I'm kicking off this story in my hometown of Phoenix, Arizona, where I'm driving 6 hours north to a little place called Colorado City, which is right on the border with Utah. I'm gonna be meeting up with a guy named Sam who left the community, but is kind enough to meet me there and take me around the bizarre community that he grew up in. After 6 long hours, I have finally made it in Colorado City. Man, Arizona's a big state. Woo! First impressions are bland. Not a whole lot going on out here. I'm meeting Sam up at the park, the only park in the community. There he is. What's up, man?
No, man,
Great to meet you. How you doing?
Great, great. Welcome to Colorado City.
Thanks, dude. All right, so Sam, this is like a park. This is just a park.
This is the park. This is Cottonwood Park. So this is where, back in those days when I was a kid, all of the big events were held. It wasn't the same as when Warren took over.
Right.
When Warren took over, everything came collapsing down.
What year was that?
So he took over in about 2002.
So when he took over, that was like a huge thing.
Oh, it was. Well, because his father, Rulon Jeffs, was the prophet before him. And Rulon Jeffs was very well respected in town.
What do you mean by prophet? Like Jesus prophet?
Well, not quite, although some people would say that they are just as important as Jesus. But yes, so they were the prophet, meaning the leader of all of the people. They claimed to be talking for God. And I mean, I remember Warren Jeffs standing at the pulpit preaching to us, and he would sit there and pause for a minute and kind of bow his head. And my parents, especially my mother, would tell me that he was receiving revelation in that moment.
Really?
That God was saying, this is what you need to say to your people, and then he would say it to us. So he was claiming to speak for God directly.
It gives me the goosebumps because of just thinking about the power. It's almost like totally engulf a community and they are the Lord to a community.
100%,
right?
Yes. Warren Jeffs was, as a king, a ruler, a god, people would obey everything he said to do, including law enforcement.
Including
that were local here.
The FLDS church owned this city.
Yes.
Until when?
The UEP stands for the United Effort Plan, and that was put together by the FLDS church as a trust that owned all of this property.
Got it.
And of course, guess who was the leader of that trust? Warren Jeffs was in charge, right? He owned everything.
You mean he, as a person, literally owned it? He was the owner, the landlord, everything.
Yep.
The boss.
He made all of the people, they're very industrious here. A lot of people have or had big companies, like construction companies. Right. And he made all of them sign those companies over to the trust so that he could even own that.
So did anyone feel like they were being scammed, or they just went with it?
No one felt like they were being scammed, including myself, until you left. Mm-hmm. Once you left and looked back, then you realize, oh, what the heck was going on there?
It's so weird this is happening in my state. I mean, I grew up in Phoenix. Like, we're from the same state, but this is like a world away, man.
Right, right.
We give this lesson to the young people. We have to teach you how to think and how to live in a pure way.
So this is it. This is the famous meeting house, which you can see is being torn down and redone. It's kind of cool. It's a bittersweet thing because this meeting house is so iconic to me and to this community because of all of the memories here. I mean, meeting was a big part of being a member of the FLDS church. Every Sunday and every Saturday, we would hold meetings here. Now, the cool thing is the community is turning this into a community rec center. That's why you see some of the demolition happening here. You see these back doors? Mm-hmm. These back doors were the back doors that leaders of the church would escape law enforcement. So like Warren Jeffs, like I said, was on the FBI's most wanted list. And I remember very specifically one day, we were in a meeting, and it was during the closing prayer. And all of a sudden we heard just a loud commotion from the doors right over here, which we'll see in just a minute. And we had bodyguards, FLDS bodyguards, not allowing FBI or law enforcement to come in. By the time we looked up to see what was going on, all of the leaders of the church were gone off the stand. They were gone. And they disappeared out these back doors here.
That are now ripped up, yeah.
Yep, and jumped on their vehicles and went down into the creek that runs through town and escaped law enforcement. They had a plan.
Fascinating, man.
Yep.
It's cool that you have these mountains that are just surrounding the town. They're not in the distance. It's like I could walk there.
Yep. Well, it's funny you say that in front of this mountain here, because that mountain there is the very mountain that we were not allowed to hike.
Oh, as a kid?
As a kid, and no one was allowed to hike it because we were told. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Okay, so Book of Mormon is a scripture along with the Bible, and in the Book of Mormon, they talk about these robbers, these evil men that would go and steal and kill, and they were called the Gadianton robbers. We were told that mountain right there still possesses their spirits, and that if we hiked it, we would either be captured or killed. Maybe there was something hiding in that mountain from leaders, and so that's why. But anyway, after I had left the church at age 18, I came back a couple years later and hiked the mountain just to prove a point, and here I am.
Did you find anything?
Well, I mean, I guess, would you know if you're possessed by a spirit? I'm just kidding.
This video is about to turn really sour.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
No, I know. Is it weird to be walking around this town right now?
Well, I was just gonna say that, and especially right here. I mean, we walk on this parking lot. This used to be packed full of cars. I mean, every single Sunday, you couldn't find a spot, so you'd have to park down the street and then walk into these doors right here. And these doors that now just look like, yeah, this is just some abandoned weird building. When we were going to church here, we were told that if we could see the evil angels waiting for us outside these doors after hearing the word of God and the prophets speak, we would never dare walk out those doors because they were there trying to tempt us and convince us to do bad things. And so that's a way they convinced us to try harder, to pray more, to be more obedient and those kinds of things.
Dude. All right, so where are we heading now?
So now I figure we will head to the home that was being built for Warren Jeffs and his many wives. But he never actually stayed there because it was completed after he was in prison. Now, why would they continue building it even though he was put in prison? Because the FLDS people believed for many years and still believe to this day. After Warren was put in prison, they were told, and we were told, that he was going to break free, that God was going to break down the prison walls, and he would come back and leave.
Let me tell you something, he ain't getting out of that prison. So.
No, he is not. But they believe to this day that he is.
And they believe, like 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people, 5,000 people, who's they?
So, well, that's a great question. When I was out here, there were between 10 to 15,000 at one point.
Got it.
At this point, people that strongly believe in Warren Jeffs as the prophet and would still do anything he tells them to do is about 2,500.
And they're in Texas, right?
No, they're all over the place.
Okay. But Warren doesn't have communication anymore with these people.
Well, he does, unfortunately.
Really?
He's been writing what he calls revelations in prison since the moment he was put in there. And during the time of COVID, he would call and preach to his followers for hours on the phone. And they would sit there and listen to him.
This is not a test. This is a revelation from the Lord God of heaven.
They let him do that, but the reason they put him in prison is because of his wrongdoings. So why would they let him keep doing it?
So that is the question.
From what I heard, you guys didn't celebrate Christmas?
Oh, no. No, Christmas was a big, bad holiday in our minds. It was something that was very worldly, created by the world. We were told it isn't even when Jesus Christ was born, so it's not even anything about Jesus. People just want to go spend money and get things.
What did you celebrate?
We celebrated, and this was during the time of Rulin' Jeffs. Warren Jeffs put an end to all fun. Even the word fun, Warren Jeffs took it out of our vocabulary and said we cannot say that.
What?
He said that if we are enjoying something, we can say enjoyable, but not fun. He said that fun is for the world. We should be working and doing things for God only, not out there having fun.
Dude, that is Kim Jong-un style, man.
Yeah.
So what holidays did you celebrate?
So we celebrated the 4th of July, the 24th of July is when Utah became a state. And then we had a harvest festival.
So you guys were patriotic to your nation?
We were, yes. Well,
kind of.
Once again, that was taken away once Warren Jeffs came into power. He took away all of that. But when I was a young boy, we did celebrate those holidays. But Warren Jeffs, when he became prophet, he shut this whole library down. He didn't want anyone, once again, kind of North Korea style, reading outside stuff. The only thing we were supposed to read and listen to was music from the church and sermons from Warren Jeffs.
So you never heard of Britney Spears or Eminem or famous singers growing up?
I would hear about them from other people and whatnot, but I wasn't supposed to listen to them. The funny thing though is listening to country and Taylor Swift and Hillary Duff and that kind of thing was so wicked during the time I was here. So this is it.
Oh, this is it. We're already here. It's a hotel?
It's a hotel now. It's called the Most Wanted Hotel, named after the most wanted Warren Jeffs.
All right, so we are now walking inside. Whoa, look at this courtyard, bro.
Don't step in there. I'm just kidding.
You motherfucker, man.
This is important here. Look at this. Check this out. Okay.
It's echoing. Whoa.
Yeah. Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah.
So look how thick these walls are.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody in a dump truck is even going to be able to plow through that.
These are 2.5 feet thick, these walls. Holy crap. Like,
so,
bro.
So it kind of looks like Warren Jeffs was building a prison, but what he was doing, he was building it like a prison in the sense that the security would be as though it was a prison. The big metal gates would open, he would pull in here, the gates would close behind him, other gates right there would open, he would get in there, and then those would close. So very secure, and that's where Warren would be staying. Over here would be for other family, like wives and things.
So he was planning to have all of his wives under one roof?
Well, if they would fit. Honestly, I'm not sure they would, because 80 is a lot. And that's the thing too, is though he had about 80 wives, the town, I was living here during that time, I had no idea that he had that many. It was all kept secret.
You thought he had 4?
Well, I knew he had more than that, but I was guessing 20s.
Okay, so first of all, I'm hearing echoes all over the place. This is creepy.
Let's go see if we can peek in there without
Sure.
without getting kicked out.
Yeah, sure, we'll try. Is this a hotel room?
No, well, I don't know what it is now, honestly.
It's weird, man.
It looks like it's someone's house, but
This is so weird.
see, even after Warren would get through the second gate,
Yeah.
then he would pull into his garage and the garage would close. So, I mean, the security, and then of course I imagine he would bring some of his wives to this home. That was the plan. He never lived here because it was completed after he was in prison.
So weird,
But just
man.
to give you an idea of security.
Yeah. I don't know what I feel like right now. I feel like I'm in North Africa. These like weird fences around buildings that are white.
Well, and something that you'll notice as we drive around town is there are some walls around properties, but not as many as there used to be.
Got it.
A lot of the walls have been taken down now. It's a nice house. It's weird. It works perfectly for a hotel because of all the long
I
hallways
was just about
and the
to
many,
say,
many rooms.
like, if I didn't know anything about Colorado City and I needed a place to crash, this is nice.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a good place to crash nowadays.
Nobody comes here because of what the building is.
No, I think that people come out here for like group service projects and things like that. I think you'll see churches, Christian churches and different churches come out with youth to help with different things. Yeah, this would have been a living room. So stages actually were pretty common in big homes as like a place for people to perform. For some reason, it was common in the FLDS for families to get up and do performances like singing or
not sexual
instrument. Well, you know, like all these hallways. This is very common in a big polygamous homes to have big long hallways with just rooms all the way down to fit people.
Do you get like weird feeling being here?
I do.
So do I do. The walls would speak to you.
Yeah, I mean, for an outsider or someone else, I can see.
I gotta be honest. I was driving here and there was like no accommodations. This is like a nice hotel.
Right. Yeah.
I would stay here.
Here we go. This is down the hill that leads to my childhood home.
So all these houses were members of the FLDS church when you grew up?
Oh yes. If not current, there were some what we called apostates out here, and those are people that had left the church that still lived here, but we look down on those people.
This is it?
This is it.
All right, let's do it, man. I love how everything here is like a 2-minute drive.
Exactly, it's very close. So this here, just want to point out, it looks very different than it did when I was living here because there was a huge fence that we put in, a big stone fence that we spent a lot of time building.
But you didn't live here with 35 siblings, did you?
Well, there were probably about 20 of us in this house. So
it's not
there was a lot.
A massive house by any means. But
no, it's not. There were multiple siblings living in each room. Look at these notices on the door. I wonder what that says on there.
Looking for Sam, the polygamist.
Oh.
What?
Do I dare?
What?
I haven't walked on this step since I was 18 years old.
Really?
Yep, this will be the first time. So I guess this is the big moment for mankind.
Oh man, that must feel weird.
One small step for man.
Wow, man.
Okay, so current water restrictions. Okay, just water restriction stuff. I was hoping for like an eviction notice.
Oh no, it's totally like being renovated.
Oh, is it?
Look inside. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, it's completely being torn apart. Wow, it's weird. The window you're looking in right now was our big meeting room where we would hold our family meetings and Sunday schools and things like that. But there used to be a sign that said Zion above the door.
What does Zion mean?
Zion, if someone had Zion on their fence or on their door, it was an outward statement that I believe in and follow Warren Jeffs.
Oh, that's what that means. But is it ironic that Zion National Park is right there?
Well, people believe that in this place called Zion that will be a perfect harmony, perfect place, only righteous people living, and where God himself can dwell and visit. And that was the idea, that they were yearning or becoming Zion. This is my room through this window, and the amount of times I climbed out this window, I won't say, but don't tell my father. Yeah, look at this. Oh yeah, it's just completely torn apart.
And by the way, Sam has an awesome YouTube channel called Growing Up in Polygamy, which is how I found him. Actually, I found him through Peter Santinello's video, another YouTuber who makes great stories.
Yeah.
So we're all kind of YouTubers here. Man, look at dude. Even I feel crazy being here, and I've never been here before.
Yeah. You see this door right here? Mm-hmm. So there was a moment in my young teenage years where, see how it's locked? Mm-hmm. There was a moment when it was locked just like that. My brothers dared me. They said, there's no way you could break through that door. And I got to run from about here. Should I demonstrate?
Yeah, I was gonna say, please try it again, dude.
So, and I just plowed right through the door. It took down the entire frame with it. My brothers hated me because I didn't know how to fix it, so they had to. I'm just looking at these windows here, and the amount of memories and stories is just bizarre. I walked by this property, but I haven't walked onto the property.
Oh, you didn't
like
walk
this.
on here?
In the FLDS, the father of the home was the ruler of the home. It wasn't like, oh, hey, Dad, what's up? At least in a lot of the families.
So you called your dad father?
Yes, we were not allowed to say dad. That was considered disrespectful. Same with the mothers. It was mother, not mom. And
that's very culty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's like weird that you weren't allowed to even call them mom or any other word.
Right.
Well,
right.
You had 4 moms.
Yeah, I did. So, well, we were all very clear on who belonged to who. So I knew who my mom was. And
what did you call your other mom?
We would call them Mother and then their first name. It was Mother Eliza, Mother Mildred, Mother Jeannie, and then my mother, Mother Yvonne. And I would call my mom Mother. I wouldn't use her first name. I would just say Mother.
And your 4 moms lived in the house with you?
Yes, they all lived here. They all had their separate room. Father had his separate room. Father never slept in the mother's rooms with them. I never saw that. And I know that things like that were very secretive in the FLDS. Right. We weren't given any type of education on sexual stuff at all. That just wasn't a topic. But I know that sometimes the mothers might go to his room, but the mothers a lot of times, in a lot of cases, would have young kids in their room sleeping with, like the infants would be in the room with the mother.
Did you have any clue that the rest of the world doesn't live like that?
Yes. When I got older, we would actually start doing construction jobs outside, like in the surrounding cities and different places. So we would meet other people.
Okay.
Now, we thought they were the strange ones, of course, and that we had it all figured out. But it was, it was just an interesting switch when I left to realize, oh, where I came from was the strange, and most of the world doesn't live like this.
As we walk through the quiet streets of Sam's old neighborhood, the past weighs heavily on our minds. The old buildings are reminders of a life once controlled by the strict rules of the FLDS. From Sam's childhood home to the remnants of Warren Jeff's compound, each location holds a piece of what was once a thriving Colorado city. But there are more spots around town that Sam wants to show me so I can better understand what it was like to grow up in this cut-off society.
So what is this place?
So this place used to be the thrift store of the town. So a lot of people would come in here and find very inexpensive clothes. Turn, pull, push, turn, pull. It worked. So you grew up in the FLDS. You know my family very well.
I knew Neil, Neil.
Yeah.
I love Neil.
That's crazy.
So many fun memories.
Crazy. You've never met before?
I don't think we've met.
It's crazy how you know everything about his family and he knows everything about you.
Yeah.
No, go on.
You may have seen me around the community when I was a little kid, but.
Probably. Back when I was a kid, it was a great community. We had the village to raise the child. And people were just congenial. I mean, we worked really well together. And religious stuff started to get in the way, and it started separating people and feelings. And
did you know Warren Jeff?
I've never met him officially, but I do know of him.
And you were connected to him through.
If I saw him, I'd probably know who he was.
Is it not strange to grow up with molesters and
very much so. Not right to me?
Okay.
Well, I'm sure you saw the polygamy side of thing, and all of that was normal for you as well, I assume.
I loved it.
Why though?
Loved it. Because other mothers can relate to you differently than your own mom. It's just that
you had
this other mom could relate to me, and she had different talents than my mom, and so.
Did you feel that way too?
Yeah, there were definitely different talents that each mother brought to the table.
Do you still love the idea of having multiple mothers?
Totally.
This is so bizarre to meet a woman from the FLDS church who runs this shop and hearing her talk about growing up here. I can't believe that I'm getting this on camera right now. It's bizarre.
The idea of having more than one wife is an absolute no for me. So I wonder if that's the same for you. Like being a sister wife for you personally, is that something that you would still be interested in?
Major.
Really? Interesting, okay.
Totally.
Do you think others feel the same way?
But you know what? It's going to have to be on very strict terms.
Right.
And that is, it's not going to be something where somebody, like the placement marriage things that they force people into and they guilt people into and shame them into. And I mean, we could go on with a few more adjectives on that.
So you want to choose your husband?
Absolutely. I think every woman should. I don't buy with the placement stuff, but I got married by getting on my knees. And I knew, and I didn't go into the brethren and say, tell me who to marry. But I absolutely want other ladies in my life.
Can I ask you a question about Warren Jeffs? So he had 80 wives. You don't think that's too much? Like, is that not kind of crazy? Is that crazy to you? Like, where do you draw the line?
I think it's sick and wrong how Warren got his.
Yeah.
And the guilt and the shame and how he treated them, and there's a whole bunch of story around that, so I can't just give you a simple answer.
Sure. Yeah. You don't think it's weird for the husband, for the man, to have multiple wives, but the wife can't have multiple husbands?
No. I don't think that's weird. Look in the animal kingdom. That's how a lot of the animal kingdom is.
So you would allow your husband to have another wife?
Absolutely.
So how would it happen if the time ever happened? What would need to happen for another woman to come in?
Lots of prayers and somebody knowing where they're going. And
take care.
I still love Marilee.
Whoa, we got to talk.
A lot to talk about, right? I guess it just goes to show once again, when you're raised in something and that's all you know and you believe it is the best life because that's what you have experienced, then that's what you want. In her case, it seems
mind-blowing, dude. That was super interesting.
Keeping sweet is an exertion to remain clean and pure. And if you're not keeping sweet, then you're not pure.
Reflecting on this journey, it's clear that the FLDS operated not just as a religious community, but as a cult, a system designed to control and manipulate its followers for the benefit of its leader. The scars of this toxic environment run deep, etching themselves into both the physical surroundings of this town and the psyche of those who once called it home. But despite this trauma, we encountered a few people who give us hope for the future of Colorado City. We're about to meet up with Warren Jeffs' 65th wife for a rare interview, as she reminds us that in the face of so much destruction, there is room for redemption.
Well, this here is Warren Jeffs' old home. And I met Warren Jeffs himself in his backyard here. I helped my brother do the landscaping and things like that.
That's so bizarre, dude.
And so, yeah, I met many of his wives. I met his brothers. I met him, Warren Jeffs himself out here. He was playing tennis one day in his backyard. And so, yeah, we would see him around. Hey, there she is.
Hi. How are you?
Drew, Brielle, how are you?
Pleasure to meet you.
Good to see you too.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
I've heard so much about you.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah.
Once a symbol of oppression, the 44-room mansion that was occupied by Warren Jeffs and his multiple wives has undergone a remarkable transformation. The Dream Center, as it is now called, is a sanctuary for people fleeing the church. Led by Brielle Decker, Warren Jeffs' 65th wife, the center offers transitional housing and education, combats addiction, and aids victims of human trafficking. To me, it is crazy to think that the home that once trapped Brielle now helps others get out.
How long did you live here with Warren Jeffs?
4 months.
Okay, so 4 months with Warren. And
well, he wasn't really here, but his family was.
Okay, at that time he was kind of on the run.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I married him after he was the prophet, so he was already on the run.
Did he go on the run almost immediately after he became prophet, or was it a little bit later?
It was almost immediately.
Okay, that's what I thought. So like 2002, 2003?
Yeah, it was September, and then my birthday was in November, and I married him in January.
Okay.
So I turned 18.
I was just about to say, how old were you when you married him?
Yeah, I turned 18. So the fathers had a lot more say kind of before that.
Mm-hmm.
When Rulin was the prophet, they could tell the prophet when their daughter was old enough or when they felt like they were ready. But when Warren became the prophet, he called up the fathers and said, your daughter is ready. So it put him in a really tight position because if they didn't go along with it, they could lose all their children all at the same time. This is the men's floor. The men stay down here.
Like, are you talking about currently staying or before?
Yeah,
okay.
and before the boys.
Before.
This, I don't know if I showed you this when you were here.
No.
This is like all this wiring. And when the first directors came, they hired some people to come in and try to organize this. And they walked out and they were like, what is going on in there? And they're like, we just barely bought this place, and they're like, there was illegal wires tapped the whole city.
So the whole city was being spied on, huh?
Yeah.
Who orchestrated that?
That was Warren Jeffs and his whatever he did.
He put illegal wiring to spy on everybody?
In the town, yeah, so he could tap their phone lines.
Did you know that?
So I had heard rumors. I didn't know about the phone lines.
So he could listen to anyone's conversation.
Yeah. And one time they went through a tour, and there was a lady from the community in the tour, and they kind of explained that, and she just went, oh my goodness, that's how he knew. And she was like talking about how he called her out in church one time and told her she was talking to a boy on the phone. And he told her it was God who told him.
Of course.
And so she believed this whole time that she was denying God and running from God and all this stuff, and then she finds out later that he was just tapping the phones.
But it just goes to show that that's how he was able to convince so many people that he was hearing from God. And he was being directed by God.
He was listening to them.
He was listening in and spying on us.
I feel like it's so manipulative. And also like how he would watch the news and tell everybody else not to. He had so many tactics.
So how does that make you feel though?
Me, yeah. I feel like it's really sad to think about like how many people were like basically deceived because he was lying to them, you know?
Yeah.
Sounds like you got treated a lot worse than his other wives.
I think I was his most hated wife. And I like it now.
Yeah, I was just about to say, definitely a secret closet, yeah. What's happening in here?
This is under the front porch.
What does that mean?
So like, it was a secret room, and these things, there's a latch under it, you can't see the latch.
What do you think was kept back here?
I think of records.
Oh, the records of the church and stuff?
The marriages and all of that stuff. And there was, when we first got here, I don't know if it's still there, but there was a tape down there that said masks on it.
Yeah.
So you said, you asked what things were found, and they were the documents and recordings and all the things that Warren Jeffs had his scribes and had people record of the abuses and things that he was doing to underage women or girls.
So did you know the 12-year-old?
I did know her, I met her before, but I wasn't in the room when all that stuff happened, but I did go into the introduction and figured out what was going on, and that's when I fought him after that. Yeah. So I think I was the only wife that successfully avoided him after that, because I did see women crying, I did see mothers in really tight positions, like you think about the littler kids on the property that they already gave birth to, and he's bringing them now because they're worthy now to come see their kids after this long space of time. And they're put into this really traumatic situation, and they have to choose if they're going to follow along with abusing these 12-year-olds and leave their kids in a vulnerable situation, or, you know what I mean? Yeah. If they leave the property, so if they fight Warren Jeffs, they leave the property and their littler kids are more vulnerable.
When you married Warren Jeffs, did you change your last name to Jeffs?
Not legally.
Not legally, but people would call you Jeffs, but it wasn't. So the ID you talked about that you forgot to take with you had your maiden name on it?
Yeah, Warner.
Okay.
So my name, I did change my social, was legally adopted, and changed my name. So if you look up Warren Jeffs' wives, I was Lynette Warner. Now I'm Brielle Decker Blanchard.
Wow. So. Do the other mothers that are married, like the second, third, fourth mother or beyond, do they change their last name legally?
They can't legally.
Okay.
So in the church they're called Jeffs, but outside of the church they're called their maiden.
How does your husband now feel about all this, that you were married to Warren Jeffs?
Oh, he's really quiet about like most things, but
it's good.
He's really good to me.
I'm so happy for you that you were able to put that life behind you, or at least most of the baggage behind you, and moving on to a happier version of yourself.
Yeah, and we have a house, our own house in town.
Nice. Are you worried that you're gonna get a knock on your door someday and like someone, like any of that? Do you think about that stuff?
I do. It's impossible not to think about it, I think, but it's not like I live in fear. You know, I just do the best I can, and you know, whatever happens, happens, because there's always going to be angry people. There's always going to be people who don't see it your way.
But the fact that you're public and willing to speak about this on camera means that you're putting yourself out there, but they don't consume social media, and they probably won't even see these videos.
But the ex-FLDS do.
And
there are some ex-FLDS who disagree with some of the ideas that I have, which is fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also some active active FLDS people that still follow Warren Jeffs that do scour the internet to look for these people that are talking about
I
stuff.
feel like if you do the best you can, that's all anybody can do.
I agree. I'm with you there. People ask me that too. Are you afraid for your family and your life? And I say, what's the point in living in fear?
Yeah.
We're sharing messages that need to be shared. We're trying to help people where we can. And I think you're doing the same, and you've done a great job at it.
Thanks, so have you.
As I leave Colorado City, the echoes of its past still linger. But this isn't just a story of a cult's downfall. It's an account of a place once dominated by fear and control, now fighting for a future filled with hope. The survivors I met inspire me to keep making videos about marginalized people. The path to healing is long, but it's lit by those who refuse to be silenced. Leaving the FLDS church behind, I'm heading to the desert, where California's outcasts have created a world of their own. America has only one town with no laws.
Get the f***ing camera out of my face, bro!
It's in the middle of the California desert, where the temperature is currently 120 degrees.
We had 14 people die out here from the extreme heat.
I'm about to roll up to Slab City alone to meet the residents, hear their stories, and find out just how lawless it is. I am officially entering Slab City alone. Very odd vibes. All right, so I parked my car and I'm now walking around. First thing I see is T's garden. Doesn't look too much like a garden anymore, but at least she's always in your heart. Like, there's trailer homes everywhere, but I don't know if there's people living in them. I assume that there are, but in this heat, who knows? It is literally 118 degrees outside. I'm dying. The smells in here are quite interesting. It's like a giant junkyard. Everything here is rustic and abandoned. And I mean, this was once a school bus. Now it looks like this. Being here reminds me of the movie Into the Wild, and actually, I read online that it was filmed here. It's my favorite movie in the world.
Is there anybody here?
All right, we made it to Salvation Mountain. Let's go check it out. Holy shit, it's hot out here, and I mean hot. Like, it feels like a blow dryer is hitting you in the face. It's very lonely and isolating out here. There's no people. This art installation is called Salvation Mountain. It's like the landmark here. It took one guy over 30 years to build this by himself. His name is Leonard Knight. In 1984, his first attempt at the project was destroyed in a rainstorm, but he did not get discouraged. Instead, he saw it as God's way of telling him that he needed to start over. Taking inspiration from the Navajo Indians, and with the help of Builder Bill, who I'm hoping to meet, Leonard spent his entire life spreading the message that God is love. Now, the hill he left behind is a symbol for Slab City, and a legendary example of American folk art. I hear a guitar and I hear some people. Let's go. I'm keeping my camera low so I don't draw more attention than the looks I'm already getting from the locals. They have coffee here?
Girl, you got a new guy.
Right here. Hi, how are you? Can I get some coffee, please?
Maybe.
Thanks.
There you go. And there's no sugar, sorry.
That's okay.
There is creamer on the desk
Okay.
right over there.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Right, you're welcome.
Make myself at home.
How many years out here?
I think about 7. I lost track though.
During the summer, it's only Wednesdays and weekends that she's open. But during the season,
really?
yes, every morning, this is where people start their day. Yeah.
So what were you doing eight years ago?
Oh, I had a printing business, but I got my social security approved, so I just threw everything away.
Enjoy it out here?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I like it. It's a great place to retire, if you want to call it retire.
What do you like about living here?
I like the people here.
That's good.
I like being around up people. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it makes me feel superior. I don't know. I mean, I've explored that possibility. I've rejected it, but
What's up, buddy?
I'm not as crazy as other people, and it makes me feel good.
You plan to leave or
Plus,
stay?
they let me play my music, and the women let this old man flirt with them and like that, you know, and so it's fun.
You ever go back to LA?
I go back. My family lives. I have kids that live there.
What do your kids think about you living in Slab City?
Well, they're okay with it.
My mama was gonna kick my ass. Got my grandbabies out there for it.
Yeah.
I look up on the internet and it says murder. Mom.
Yeah.
Chill.
It's a little bit Wild West. The closest thing that I can describe to Slab City is the Star Wars bar.
Oh, I love it.
And it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I've even met some unpleasant people, but not.
I'm not looking for unpleasant people.
Well, everybody eventually takes their turn at being unpleasant.
Let Needle do that to you every once in a while.
Yeah, you might be dark, you might be light. Doing what's right now.
I've been out here since 08, so 15, 14, 15.
I was in high school in 08. Wow.
I didn't even know about this place. I was camped. I plotted myself to go to the warmest spot in the continental United States, which is like the Yuma Desert area.
Yeah.
Around there. So I had a view of Route 66 and cruised down and.
You just made it away?
I was camping at the Salton Sea and some the people I was camping next to, and they're like, "You want to go on a field trip?" And I'm like, "Sure, where are we going?" Hey! Let's not do that bull. Yeah, because you guys are going to the f***ing garbage. Yeah, that one, and there's another one that went to the f***ing garbage.
Whose dogs are those?
It's everybody's. I mean, you know.
Oh, they all get together?
Yeah. Whose dog is that one?
Beryl has to step away to figure out who the owners of the dogs are before they get trash everywhere. Meanwhile, she suggests I eat at the Wrangler, and she'll meet back up later to show me the underbelly of this freaky ghost town.
How many years have you been out here?
I've been out here consistently for 13 years with a back injury and wheelchair bound for 8 years. Slab City is a free living community. We like to try to keep it as a community for persons who are the outcasts, who are disabled, can't afford to have a place to live, and can come here and start anew, like as if you're camping every day. It's a lot tougher than you think. The weather is really extreme, and it pulled everybody off guard when it was only 92 into the first part of July. It started turning the hundreds, and then within a week it went killer weather, and we had 14 people die out here from the extreme heat.
Tell me more about the people of Slab City.
A lot of them get a pre-notion that this place is lawless, that you can do what you want, and that, of course, is within reason and moral reason.
Sure.
You know, let's all have a good head about ourselves and do the right things and not come out here just to do the wrong things.
Right.
Because that's a bunch of BS. We're not going to do any vigilante stuff, but we are going to have a group meeting. You don't have to be aggressive. Call the cops.
Yeah.
You know,
and how often do the cops?
Call the cops. You know, everybody says, you know, don't call the cops. You know,
once a week, once a day?
No, they're out here every day.
Every day?
Every day the sheriffs are out here cruising
And
around.
when they see people doing meth in front of them, they don't say anything?
Oh yeah, if you're lighting up a clear glass pipe type deal, they're gonna definitely stop.
Oh, they will. Okay.
And detain you and all that.
If you don't mind me asking, like, are there killings? Are there really extreme crimes? And
yes, there's some fights and this and that, obviously. As far as killings go, I've heard some rumors. I haven't seen it, so I will leave it at that. It was about 2 years ago, a transgender who was standing up for other transgenders, and apparently it was a three-way love affair going with one girl and two guys that were transgender, and so we're thinking that the one transgender, a black gentleman, that's not necessarily, that's just a suspect. They went looking for him in Oregon because the kid ended up stabbed to death, and they found him floating in the canal.
What Ken is telling me is crazy and makes me feel pretty anxious as I head back to pick up Beryl for a tour of Slab City.
Is this a Tesla?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone else just had one.
It's my wife's car. Yeah, that guy right there is one.
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
That's Brian.
He lives here?
No, he's kind of like a snowbird.
Snowbird, that means they just come for the winter.
Yeah.
heard, yeah, like this summer, people were just dying because the heat and no AC.
Well, it's not so much AC, it's
Drugs?
hydration.
Yeah.
And some of it was those that fentanyl.
Yeah, that came recently, I think.
Yeah, that was
This is how it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy has all these dogs?
Where?
Right here.
Oh yeah, Woody.
What?
Yeah, no, he's been a problem because he doesn't know how to take care of his dogs.
Are these locals?
I don't know.
Well, if you don't know them, they're probably not locals.
Part right there.
A lot of people are just interested in Slab City because it's a place unlike anywhere else in the world, really. You
Yeah.
know, so there's a lot of attraction to it.
Yeah, social media is killing us because you know, I mean, you got all the people that there's no laws out, we can do whatever we want. And, you know, it's like no, don't.
So this is East Jesus, this area. It's really cool.
Yeah, Charlie Russo started it. He when he passed, he had his mom involved, and they put it into a foundation, and that's how it runs. They got a board of directors and everything. So his wishes are, you know, kept alive. And his dream is kept alive.
All different used materials to make really cool things.
Oh yeah.
Like a really beautiful junkyard.
We're the epitome of repurposing out here in Slab City. The level of artistic genius is incredible out here.
I mean, I've never even seen anything close to this.
The creativity out here reminds me of Burning Man. Everything is experimental and recycled, and the art, in fact, is quite political. This place is a refuge for sculptors, musicians, survivalists, and writers, and is completely run on solar power.
This is my favorite part of Slab City, I think. Very unique.
Yeah, oh yeah. Really.
And impressive. You never get bored living here?
There's always something to do.
It's true. Someone to talk to.
Yeah,
but
there's just so many women.
But a lot of people here, they come with like baggage, or they have personal life. Yeah, so then does that ever become your problem, or people just are?
No, you know, the thing is with this community is that we all know everybody's got something. Doesn't matter. Everybody's got something, and we all know that. Then the thing is you know, your depth of relationships with people. You know somebody better than something, and they're out going on a rant. They're like, oh, they'll be fine in a few minutes. They're just venting out, you know.
Yeah.
And you know.
You just let them vent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're all here, you know. You're all in one place together.
Right, and it's okay, man. You can vent here. You know, let it. You know, if you're gonna sit there and want to throw then go across on the other side of the canal.
Yeah, just don't hurt anyone. Yeah,
exactly.
That's the rule. Just don't anyone else up.
Right, pretty much, yeah. But you know, you gotta vent. You gotta learn how to vent. You know, it helps.
Sure. And people come here to vent, you know.
Or to learn how to vent.
Right.
Whatever. Like just get away, and, you know.
Wow, what a place.
Yeah.
How do people feel about tourists here?
Oh well, you know, some places like them and some don't, you know. Yeah. But it just depends on how the tourists are that come. I love the ones that get out of their car and engage.
Yeah.
You know.
Of course.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, you know, learning, meeting, inspiring. That's it.
Beryl is taking me to meet Builder Bill, a formerly homeless man who came here in search of a better life. Nowadays, he is considered an elder in Slab City and is one of the community's lead musicians.
I know I'm a bit late.
Nah, you're good. I just came to say hi and see what's going on. But you are a legend around here. Everybody talks about Builder Bill. You have a good name for yourself.
Well, I didn't know when I started that I was engaging in a life of service. But as I look at it now, that's kind of how it works. Everybody here has some reason why they aren't good out there.
That's exactly what we were just talking about, literally, in the car. Like word for word. But people come here to find community, you know?
Well, they come here running away, and then
somehow they find community.
Yeah.
Are you ever gonna leave here? You staying forever?
Oh, I got nowhere to go.
How many years are you here?
I think it's 24, maybe.
But I haven't met anyone who's been here longer than 30 years.
Oh, there's some.
They're dead.
Charlie was.
The freedom to disappear is something we all take for granted. Only in the desert allows people to remove themselves from society, to never be found again. Research shows that most residents collect unemployment or disability benefits. There is no running water, and drug addiction runs wild. But it's the heat that makes this place truly unlivable.
How you doing? Do you need any water? Yeah. You want one as well? How are you surviving out here in the heat?
You know.
True.
It's Mike, good to meet you.
How long you been out here?
Well, she's been here 30 years. I've been here 4 years. So yeah.
30 years?
Yeah. I mean, it's a roller coaster. It's progressively getting worse out here.
Why is that?
You know, drugs mostly. Drugs, you know, just have, you know, plagued our whole society, really. You just, unfortunately, you got the broken. You know, the people that they were outcast of their friends and family, and they came here, and now they're a meth head or something. You know? Is
that like the majority?
At least half, yeah.
How did
Especially
you...
in the summer, because again, it's different. Because in the summer, people are stuck here.
How did you end up here?
I was afraid of 5G.
5G, like phone signal?
Yeah.
So you decided to go off the grid?
Yeah, like as much as I could.
But there's 5G here.
But as long as you're not a football field or closer away from it, you're kind of safe. If you're closer than a football field, they can use it on you as a weapon. Because I don't know how much research is done on 5G, but when they disperse a crowd, they use a 5G weapon. They point at it and it feels like their skin is on fire.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of stuff that can be done in 5G. So like I said, that was the final straw. Plus, you know, society doesn't seem to be your friend all in all.
You don't need to pay rent to live here? How do you order Amazon? You can't?
You can, yeah. There's certain, you
gotta
can register with Google to have an address. Both those at the corner are 700 on that side, 698 on this side. And yeah, Google will deliver there. You're good.
Some people like barbed wire their house and like no, you know, trespassing. Actually, a lot of people when you go in there, they're like really block off their house. But I guess everybody's different.
Well, and there's a lot of antisocials that are really just afraid of people in general.
Are there fights here?
I mean, she's been here 30 years and she raised 5 kids out here.
You've been here for 30 years?
Yeah, I got here when I was 19.
But her husband, you know, ran Paredes and drugs, and he's still here, and he lives the drug life.
So a lot of people, in my assumption is people, they're like educated from where they're from, and then they're like rebellious or they're druggies and they come here. So they're educated people.
Well, yeah, and a lot of them, they just don't want to, you know, I call it the island of misfit toys. Like, you will find, you know, a way to fit in here. But unfortunately, like I said, you got a lot of broken people.
How'd you guys meet?
Well, here. we met here, yeah.
Oh, like 4 years ago or something?
Yeah, we've known each other about 4 years, and like when her and her husband split up about 6 months ago, you know. Yeah.
Oh, you split up 6 months ago?
Yeah, and that's when.
Nice. I love that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, he was very abusive. Yeah, he knocked her teeth out.
What?
Wow. Yeah, he beat her for years. He kept her a prisoner. He wanted her to call him master and stuff.
He left?
No, he's here still. One day we're driving down the street and he says, I'm going to shoot you both.
You have a lot of feelings of loneliness in the summer especially?
Like really, because like I said, before I met her, I had plenty of friends and there's plenty of little social structures and stuff. Like I said, there's that restaurant right there. And
I think I came at the worst time. There's no one around.
Well, on Saturdays at the range, you see like a block up there on the right, at dark there's concert. There'll be like 20 people performing tonight.
Do you think like, oh tonight, it's Saturday. Oh, there will be 20 people. Okay, what time?
Right at dark. You guys can park anywhere you want and sleep if you want or whatever. Yeah, there's no kind of rule.
And like, are people generally standoffish or they're friendly? Okay.
No, they're friendly.
While I wait for the sun to set, I'm heading back to the Wrangler to see if Ken is planning to attend the concert tonight.
Like if we come tonight to the show, we can sit here. Fine. Just don't, you're just saying don't like.
Excuse me. Cheers, she's okay. Are you all right? Raya? You okay?
She all right?
She's okay.
For a second, I was worried we might be heading to the hospital, but Ken is a professional out here. After seeing this unfold, I am reminded of the sad side of life in Slab City and the drug overdose problem gripping America's rural communities. I need some time to process before I head to the concert, so I'm gonna go for a drive as the night falls, when things will get even more dangerous.
In the desert, when it's nighttime, it's dark. We're heading now to following the music.
Thank you.
The guy singing on the mic is the pink guy that we met earlier.
Broke 1,000 hearts before I met you. Break 1,000 more, baby, before I'm through. I want to tell you, pretty baby,
really good.
what I see I make my own. I'm ready to tell you, honey, that I'm bad to the bone. I didn't know that I was lost.
Avicii in Slab City.
Right on. sometimes we gotta mix it up a little.
Really good, man. I don't know if it sounds weird, but it's almost like we're all kind of making love. We're kind of making a baby together. And look at our baby. The song is our baby, you know?
What started out as a mission to explore America's most lawless town ended up being a surprising look into the dark heart of a Californian subculture. And it isn't as lawless and dangerous as I expected. The people of Slab City are resilient, and the creativity in this desert is unlike anywhere else. As I leave Slab City, I'm heading back to the Midwest, but this time to northern Wisconsin, to meet with members of the Mennonite Church. If you thought the Amish was interesting, then check this out. One of the most mysterious communities in America lives right over that tree line. You've heard about the Amish, but what about the Mennonites? This extreme Christian community doesn't believe in high school or college, lives off what their land provides, and completely bans the internet.
Are you familiar with YouTube? I mean, I've heard the name a lot.
What would happen if I sneak in to spend 24 hours in their lives? I'm heading to northern Wisconsin to find out.
Drew, nice to meet you.
Marcus Martin's my name. I'm worshiper.
The Mennonites take church very seriously, and if you're wondering why those dudes just kissed, it's because of their strict interpretation of the Bible. Take this line from Thessalonians, "Greet all with a holy kiss." I shake a few hands and everyone is wondering, what am I doing here? Outsiders never come, but the minister invites me to join Sunday Mass and hear their choir sing. Notice how the men and women are separated? It doesn't matter if you're a family, because gender is one of the ways the Mennonites organize their society and understand their roles.
Amen. Depart in peace.
Well, it was different, wasn't it?
Very nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
And your name again?
Drew.
Drew.
Yeah.
After Mass, the minister, Joel, takes me under the church to check out the only school in the community, which stops after 8th grade.
This is 1st and 2nd grade. We don't generally do college and that type of thing. A lot of downsides to college, and if you're interested in serving the Lord and living out the Bible.
I'm inside the 1st grade classroom here in the school. Pretty bizarre.
The Mennonites trace their roots to Europe during the Protestant Reformation, a revolt against Catholicism. They're inspired by this guy, Menno Simons, a Catholic priest who was excommunicated by the church. But he disagreed with other Protestant reformers about the Bible and infant baptism, promoting adult baptism instead. Facing persecution for their beliefs, the Mennonites moved to the US and elsewhere, where they formed tight-knit communities.
We've just been mingling with the people here, and one of the families invited us into their house for lunch. So of course, I said yes. I'm really excited to try local food and enter a Mennonite's home.
Welcome to our house.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Glad to have you with us.
Thanks for having us. Hi, hi. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
First thing you see when you walk inside a Mennonite's house are all the shoes for all the kids. Look at this. All in a rack right there. There's a lot of shoes. This house is really amazing, really pink and purpley. And there's so many rooms. In the bathroom, there's this wall of toothbrushes for all the kids. Look at all these toothbrushes.
So this is my wife's side of the family.
How many grandkids do your parents have?
They're around 70 on her side. And then on this side, this is my parents here. And they have 15 children. And they have 135 grandchildren.
They have 135 grandchildren.
Right. They just had their 135th. And my brother Matthew was number 15. And so you can see he's just getting a good start on his family. So, you know.
Do you know the names of all your first cousins?
Not quite.
Not quite. Close. Almost. How you guys doing? Remind me of your name again? It's,
I'll get you.
What is it?
Kenlin.
Kenlin.
I'm Christopher.
Christopher. This is your house?
Yep.
Can you give me a little tour?
Sure. That's my oldest brother's, Christopher and Carlos's room. And then this is Joseph and I's room.
Nice. How many people are sleeping in this house, including your family and the company?
13. Well, right now it'd be 16.
Yeah, and I think the most we've ever had in one night is what, 40?
Oh, wow.
I think was the most. Yeah, and so we just kind of stacked them in.
Open the jar. Oh, whoa. What is in here?
That's my wife's canning shelves. Like, so she cans a lot, and then freezes, and so.
Wow, so she sells them, or she?
No, it's just for our family.
Wow, that's a lot of.
Yeah, just a lot of work. Yeah, well, this is we're coming into winter, so she's put up a supply for a whole year.
All right, give me the tour up here.
So this is my dad and mom's bedroom.
Nice.
So that's where they sleep, and then there's a master bathroom right there.
Nice and pink.
That's right. It's my oldest two sisters. This is their room.
Nice.
My younger sisters. Youngest 4 sisters sleep in here.
So how many siblings do you have?
10.
What are their names? Go, youngest to oldest.
Kimberly, Adela, Liliana, Filene, Janelle, Jaleesa, Joseph, me, Christopher, Jacinda, Carlos.
All right.
Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee.
So we start with prayer. We'll ask God's blessing on the food. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your great goodness to us. We thank you for the beautiful day. Thank you for the food when many in this world are hungry. We pray that we would remember that these gifts are from you. Amen.
Amen.
And so you help yourself, and if it's not good, well, pass it on.
I baked everything in the oven. And I think the chicken could be a little softer, so I'm real sorry about that.
It feels so strange to sit at this lunch table, not just for me, but for the Mennonites. They are not used to having guests, but they are as kind as any Midwestern family, and they're eager to teach me about their faith.
So we do not have casual dating, and we practice hands-off, no physical touching. And so the idea is to discuss ideals and goals and our focus. Often courtship is between a year and a half. If they believe that this is God's will, and then there's an engagement period, he asks her to be his wife, and a wedding date is set. And then marriage is permanent. Marriage is one man, one woman for life, unless there's a death of a spouse. So we teach that the Christian life is a battle. And the biggest fight that we're in is a battle against the flesh. And we're tempted with selfishness, greed, covetousness, the sins of humanity, just like everybody else. Well, the one young man, it was issues of pornography. That's an issue that would cut your membership off. We have a zero tolerance for porn. And he was dabbling into it. We instructed him. He wasn't willing to give it up, and so he understood. He understood when he was that, no, it's not tolerant. It's not tolerated.
After a delicious meal and some awkward conversation, the kids take me out back to visit the slaughterhouse, where they start to work at a young age.
Okay, so we got a couple of dead deer on the floor.
Today is a gun youth hunt, ages 15 and under. The person that shoots it brings it in, and they usually eat the meat themselves. We did 750 deer last year. Yeah, so this is actually our kill floor right here. So it's like our slaughter room, and they come in, bring them to this kill chutes, knock them, and then bleed them out, and then we skin them out. We split down through the back. It's our favorite thing to do. Yeah. I enjoy working better than sitting.
So you here working every day?
Yep. These are beef. They're split in half.
You did all this?
Yep.
Aren't you proud of that?
It's nothing to be proud about.
Wow.
It's pretty easy. Anybody can do it.
This is crazy. Look at this.
As we inch closer to sunset, I meet back up with Joel to tour the town and see what else is happening on the farms.
Got the little ones here?
I got one of them.
Hi, how are you? So cute. All right, so we're gonna take a little tour?
Yeah, we'll drive around and look at a couple of local small businesses.
Are you familiar with YouTube? I mean, you know what it is.
I mean, I've heard the name a lot, and I know somewhat what it is, yeah.
What do you think YouTube is?
Well, there's a lot of content on there, a lot of videos, anything from how-to songs to, what would be your description?
Yeah, no, YouTube is a database of hundreds of millions of videos. But that being said, there's also a lot of evil things on YouTube, which is why I envy your guys' lifestyle, that you don't consume any of that, you know?
Yeah, if there'd be a good way to filter out all the content that wrecks your mind, it would be.
So if you walk into a restaurant and there's a TV on, would you watch it?
Well, we try not to just sit there and watch it.
Have you heard of Justin Bieber?
Yes, is he
straight up Taylor Swift?
Yes, I mean, I recognize the names. I wouldn't be able to say exactly what genre they are promoting. Or
those are like two of the biggest, probably, American singers, pop singers. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just a waste of time. As I said earlier, I really envy and respect the way you guys live. Just, you remove all that stuff from your life, you know? You seem to be self-sufficient. Like, if you need a mechanic, you have a mechanic. If you need a butcher, you have a butcher. Because you guys are all kind of together.
Without the internet, life can get pretty boring. But the Mennonites have huge families to keep each other company and a lot of animals to look after. For instance, chickens.
Whoa. If you ever wonder what a chicken house looks like, it looks like this.
This simple lifestyle intertwined with the beautiful landscape is something the Mennonites do not take for granted. It's starting to make sense why they choose to live in isolation and why they never feel tempted to leave. As I walk around the green field with colorful trees, the fresh air feels as good as ever.
The kids are in the trees picking apples. Fresh apples. Mmm, so good. Be careful out there. Coolest thing is that they're innovators and the Mennonites are really resourceful. Walking through the apple fields here, they're hard workers, they're business people, and they care a lot about their community. Mennonites are tough people and very kind as well.
So we try to focus on spreading the news of the gospel. So when the church gets full, instead of just building bigger and bigger churches, we try to find an area that there's not a church and plant a church there.
And you guys have phones, but they're flip phones?
We don't have smartphones, so most of them are flip phones just because that's what's available. And the internet's been a tough issue for us, you know, because it's so wrapped up in business and everything anymore.
We made it to a cow farm here. We're all lined up and ready to go inside. We don't want to get, we don't want to get tackled by cows. So we're out here in the field and you know, Wisconsin is known as America's Dairyland, and I happen to love this state because I went to college here, University of Wisconsin-Madison, for 4 years. So it's always great to be back. Here we are. It's really interesting just being out here with the Mennonites. They're very calm, still people. They're just like, no internet, no movie theaters, no smartphones. They just live very humble lives. There's something to admire about that. I just wonder what it would be like if we lived like that. I certainly wouldn't be making a career off YouTube. Whoa, man.
These are my big ones.
This is awesome, dude. I'm from a city in Arizona where we don't have tractors where I'm from. The tire is taller than me. Ooh, going in the tractor. Thanks, man. Where should I sit, right here? This is my first time in a tractor.
Really?
Yeah. Are they fun to drive?
Yeah, it's probably one of my more favorite parts of farming, actually.
Lots of tractors out here working in the fields. It's pretty freaking cool. What does it mean to you to be a Mennonite?
My belief in God and what He asks of us through the Bible. We believe that it affects all of our life. So yes, I grew up a Mennonite, but I am also a Mennonite by choice.
Yeah. That was cool.
People will talk about the quaint lifestyle or the peaceful and all of that, and that's a lot of truth to that. What I would like for my personal vision is for people to see beyond the lifestyle and to see Jesus and how He would want them to live. You know, what's taught in the Bible, live out those doctrines is a goal we have.
Right. So do Mennonites believe in anything different than the Bible or strictly Bible teachings?
Well, we try to base our life off of the Bible and God's will for us. You know, the Bible doesn't obviously tell us exactly how to look at present day things like internet, for instance.
That's a good point.
But it does give us principles, like there's a verse that says evil communications corrupt good manners, for instance. Talking about keeping bad influences out of our lives as much as possible.
Yeah. In my family, it's a big deal to go to university.
Sure.
But here it's opposite. So what do people think about university?
What is the purpose of university in your family?
To learn, to get a higher education and specialize in your skill. It's also a time where you make new friends, learn how to live independently as an adult.
So universities, a lot of people will I don't know what percentage it is. A lot of people will go through multiple years of university and rack up a sizable debt and then go do something entirely different sometimes. But even if they do, sometimes, yes, I believe that it'll help you gain a higher income at times. But I guess the family model is one that we appreciate, where dads and moms help their children to grow up, and then at some point obviously we go off on our own, and I suppose a lot of hands-on learning.
Is there a choice if the kid wants to do something else? What if they want to become a doctor, or that's just not even a thought to them?
A doctor would be a fine profession to have to be in.
Yeah.
Healing, helping people, great. But to go through 4 years or 6 years of college away from home and away from your religious support group, it's not worth it. It tends to be a pretty big risk to their spiritual life.
And how often do you pray? Like, is it throughout the day?
So there's a verse that says pray without ceasing, which means in an attitude of prayer, we would feel that it's important to pray daily. It's not this thing where you got to go to a certain place and get in a certain position and do all this. We can be driving and pray to God, or we can be working in the shop or whatever, you know, in an attitude of worship and prayer to God. And so it's a constant thing of trying to keep the dirt out and keep filling our minds with good things. We all know that we want to do things that we shouldn't. We realize we sinned. We go to Jesus, repent of our sins, go to him and try to live our lives for him, and at the end of life, whether it be when we die and go to be with him, or whether he returns for us, we could be with him in heaven, you know, the eternal reward.
Sure. Do people believe that he will return in your lifetime?
I don't know.
Well, there you have it, the strangest communities in America. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.